Give me some of your academic background.
Oh, let's see. I went to the University of Michigan in philosophy, graduated there Phi Beta Kappa. I went to Dallas Theological Seminary and graduated with a THM. Then I went to Northwestern University and a combined program with Garrett Biblical Seminary for my PhD.
That's great.
Do you enjoy teaching?
I enjoyed teaching tremendously. Always have. And there are serious gaps in what is not being taught. For example, our topic today, one of the really serious things that's happening in our country is that there's a growing occult and neo-pagan movement.
Yeah.
In fact, the third largest religious group in the United States is neo-pagan. Christian is first, Islam is second, and the neo-pagans are next.
Okay, can you explain neo-pagan?
Yep. About 1960, some people in England who were dissatisfied with Christianity thought they would go back to the old pagan religions and the old gods and goddesses of ancient history. And that was the beginning of the neo-pagan movement. They're called neo because they're new, but they basically are pagans. Mm-hmm. They have the pagan gods and goddesses. They have a focus on witchcraft. They have a nature religion with the old nature holidays being celebrated. And essentially, they've totally turned their back on Christianity to go back to the totally exposed fictions of the ancient world.
And they also worship more like what we see, like Mother Earth. It's
oh,
all
yes.
combined, isn't it?
Yes. Gaia, in fact, there are about 150 different brands of neo-paganism. Probably the largest is Wicca, which is essentially witchcraft. And
now they all, because you hear them explain that they're not like the black witchcraft.
Oh, yes. Yes, you hear them say that. And they do believe that in what's called the witch's rood, which is a simple principle, and that is that whatever spell you cast will return to you threefold. So if you cast a spell against someone, and the Wicca people say they never cast spells to harm anyone because they believe that would come back to them 3 times. But the real problem, of course, is that all of these religions bring them in contact with the supernatural world and make them very vulnerable to demonic oppression.
This is my next question. Where do these spirits reside?
Okay. We don't know much about what the spirit world looks like. We just know that it's sort of a dimension parallel to ours. And we also know that the spirits in that world are either angels or demons. Now, if you're a neo-pagan, you believe that the spirits may be the spirits of a dead person, they may be a spirit of a being which hasn't been born yet, it may be an angel, it may be a demon spirit, it may be an animal spirit, but they consciously try to contact these spirits, and they call them spirit guides.
Yeah.
And the idea is that if you get a spirit guide, that spirit guide will help you make decisions in your life. My wife was on vacation with a friend from high school, and the friend from high school wanted to keep going into these crystal shops and into these places that sort of dealt in occult paraphernalia. And before long, she was urging my wife to just invite a spirit guide into her life. She had invited a spirit guide into her life, and the spirit guide was directing her in very helpful ways, she said. Well, we know what those spirit guides are. Mm-hmm. They're demons in disguise. And we know that...
So that's where they reside then?
Yeah.
In invited individuals?
And invited individuals, that's right. One of the things that's very important is that we have to either consciously or unconsciously give access to an evil spirit.
How would you do that?
Well, one of the most common ways is through an occult practice. We know kids that think a Ouija board is a game. Mm-hmm. And so we have kids who'll get together and they'll invite the spirits to come and to guide them as they're moving this Ouija board marker around.
And they actually think that's happening?
Oh, yeah.
Does it happen?
It can. It can happen, there's no question. A lot of these times, or you may go to a palmist and ask the palmist to give you a spiritual reading. Any of these kinds, this is why in the Old Testament, any occult practice is absolutely forbidden.
Yeah, even King Saul finally resorted to that.
And it's not just because it's an insult to God, it's because God knows that occult practices are, behind them are demons, and it makes a person vulnerable.